Okay, let's face it, writing another love song? You've probably been there, done that. But guess what? There's a lot more cool stuff to write about, and in this video I'm going to break down 6 amazing song topics that everyone loves, but nobody talks about enough. And no, this isn't one of those endless lists of random ideas where you get buried under those thousands of prompts. We will only talk about 6 song idea categories that truly interest people on a universal level. First off, I will go through some song topics and give you lots of examples, and then we'll put those topics into 6 different categories. So whenever you start working on a new song, you can start diving into one of those topic categories for having a first direction of what your song shall be about. So this will take all the headache away of not knowing, oh my god, what am I going to write about today? And lastly, I will show you also a trick on how you can find out which of those topics resonates the most with you. Before we get started, hey, I'm Melanie Naumann. I've worked as a story editor since 2015 and I am a StoryGrid certified editor since 2019. My life's always been about telling stories and exploring the craft of storytelling. And among all the stories we can tell, we at the StoryGrid, we have those topics to write about boiled down to 12. But to make it even easier for you, we will cover the global 6. The first topic is life and death, because every person on this earth is concerned about what can harm them and what can kill them. For example, look at the song The A-Team by Ed Sheeran. This song revolves around a person's struggle to survive. Just pay attention to the choice of words. They all highlight that this girl is unwell. Or look at the song Fire and Rain by James Taylor. It's about having lost someone way too early. And now the song's main character is trying to cope with that person's death. You could also write a song about someone getting the news that they are dying, just like in the song Live Like You Are Dying by Tim McGraw. It's a beautiful song with a powerful takeaway as he says, someday I hope you get the chance to live like you are dying. Because by doing all the things on his bucket list, he finally lives his life. But of course, it can also turn out differently when you get the news about your death. Just like in the song Dead by My Chemical Romance. Here the song's main character gets confronted with the news with the iconic line of, have you heard the news that you're dead? James Blunt has written a wonderful heartfelt song about a dying father. But this song doesn't only touch the end of the life of someone you hold dear, but it is also about love and personal growth and acceptance. And of course, we can always make it more dramatic and highlight the real life and death struggle. Just like in the song Run to the Hills by Iron Maiden. The words say it all. Run to the hills, run for your lives. As this is all about the violent struggles for survival for the Native Americans. Or look at the song Hammer to Fall by Queen, that is about what we are all facing, how we are all moving towards death. So in a nutshell, when choosing to write about the topic of life and death in your song, you could write about the death or the struggle to survive from the point of view of the person dying, or from the point of view when someone close to you is dying, close to the song's main character. That song could also be about saying goodbye to someone, the aftermath of death, or the lesson learned when confronted with the end of one's existence. It could also be about a physical attack, but here it should focus on the harm done and not on the crime. Because crime is another topic that you could write about in your songs. For example, we got the song I Fought the Law by the Crickets that had its breakthrough when The Clash covered it. This one is all about the iconic refrain line of I fought the law and the law won. And in between he lists how he tried to fight the law. So you could talk about someone committing a crime in your song lyrics, but you could also write about the consequences of having committed a crime. Just like in one of Johnny Cash's best songs, Folsom Prison Blues. He is in prison and has lost all track of time. You could also write about someone who has been wrongfully convicted, falsely accused, just like in Hurricane by Bob Dylan, or The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia by Vicki Lawrence. Or make it even scarier by diving into the mind of a criminal who is about to commit a terrible crime, just like in the song Bang Bang by Green Day. Or on the same note, it's the song Another One Bites the Dust by Queen. But be careful when writing those songs because, as Billy Joe said, it was a very disturbing experience to put himself into the mind of someone like that. Another example is you can also talk about how a crime is being committed in the song itself. just like in the song Any Christian by Prince. Or lastly, when you look at the song Killer's Eyes by the Kings, it's also about a crime and wanting justice. As they sing, it doesn't mean that you have the right to take a life away. So when it comes to writing a song about crime, you can write about how a crime is being planned, how it is committed, or its aftermath, its consequences. You can talk about someone being in jail, someone being wrongfully convicted or falsely accused. You can talk about the threat of a crime or how someone was the victim of a crime. So writing about crime is definitely an interesting topic to write and explore. Now, if you want to explore true darkness, you can also write a song in the realm of horror. For example, you can simply spread fear, just like Alice Cooper does in the song He's Back, the man behind the mask. That's horror, because that kind of fear can drive someone insane. And horror is all about that fine line between insanity and sanity. Another example for evoking real fear is the song Bark at the Moon by Ozzy Osbourne. People do crazy things out of fear, so I hope you can see that fearing a monster could truly drive us nuts. And there are certainly lots more songs that threaten our need for safety by making us confront a monster. For example, there's Thriller by Michael Jackson, Pet Sematary by the Ramones, or Creature of the Wheel by White Zombie. And if you further want to play with that notion of insanity, instead of a monster, you can also explore someone's insanity by focusing on what is going on in their mind and how they perceive something. After all, insanity is when we can't make sense of what is happening around us, when we have a different perception of the world than other people. And that is horror. And that's what happens to the character in the song in Hotel California, when they sing such a lovely place and that he can never ever leave. You can also just use one of Stephen King's books, he has so many, and write a song about one of his horror stories, just like Green Day have done with their song Pulling Teeth. You can literally feel Annie Wilkes' presence in that song. She's the main antagonist, the main villain in King's novel Misery. And you could even write about how someone defeats the monster, just like in the song The Rime of the Ancient Mariner by Iron Maiden, where someone makes it through the horror. As you can see, you can write about a literal or metaphorical monster. You can write from the victim's perspective, explore insanity, or simply spread fear. Talking about fear, one of the biggest threats to our need to feel safe is when we are in times of war. When exploring the topic of war, it's not about the physiological survival of an individual, but now we are on a larger scale. It's about the survival of a group or a tribe, the survival of a culture and a way of life, because war threatens us on so many levels. Our health, our body, our resources, our property, our employment, like everything, right? And when it comes to the topic of war, especially when you want to tell a story in your song about it, then the main question is, how do we secure the survival of our tribe while maintaining our humanity in the process? That's why the core theme you can explore when writing a song about war is the theme of honor, because we can choose to annihilate everybody without care, or choose a way to fight that allows us to keep our humanity. So when we look at song examples, we have the popular song Bloody Sunday by U2. You can see how it's about what's honorable. Who has maintained their humanity when there have been so many people killed? Another example is Zombie by the Cranberries. It's also an anti-war song. You can also write about someone's sense of duty and their belief in doing the right thing, just like An American Soldier by Toby Keith. Or you can talk about the consequences of having gone to war and having been injured, no matter if that is physically or mentally. In the extreme, that's what Metallica explores in their song One. Another example is the song Citizen Soldier by Three Doors Down. This one is about taking up arms to protect the people you care about. And of course, when it comes to the topic of war, there are so many more songs about this topic. For example, we have Hero of War by Rise Against, Passchendaele by Iron Maiden, or Disposable Heroes by Metallica. What it comes down to, though, is that songs about the topic of war can specifically be pro or anti-war songs, and through that, explore the value of fighting with honor or fighting dishonorably. They can talk about the consequences for the world, a nation, or an individual, whether they are directly affected, like a wounded soldier or a veteran, or it's a correlational experience, like it's the fate of family and friends. Or you can talk about a loss due to war. Next up, love songs. And I think love songs do not need any explanation at all, but I will try to give you some help here too. First of all, you can write a love song that is about a romantic relationship, whether it fails or not. Just like in Unchained Melody, My Heart Will Go On, There You'll Be, Flowers by Miley Cyrus, and like so many more. You could write a love song about one of the following subtopics. You can write about someone longing for love, just like in I'm a Believer by the Monkees. You can talk about meeting that special person for the very first time, just like in I Saw Her Standing There by the Beatles. Or you write about the first kiss, just like in Rumor by Lee Price. Or you write about the breakup, just like in I Will Survive by Gloria Gaynor. Lots of love songs are also about the confession of love, like someone literally saying I love you or finding other sweet ways to communicate their love to someone. For example, just like in Coleccionista de Canciones by the Mexican band Camila, or Can't Help Falling in Love by Elvis Presley. When exploring love songs, you can also write about the proof of love. This is something that is not yet overly saturated, like the rest of the kind of love songs that you can write. And this one, the proof of love, bears some great opportunities. For example, this is a song like I'd Come For You by Nickelback. It's those songs where someone would do something for the person they love without expecting anything in return. They act out of pure love, even if that means they would sacrifice their life for the other person. They just do something for them without expecting anything in return. That is a true proof of love. And another subtopic of love is the question of whether they end up together and stay together, like in Perfect by Ed Sheeran, or choosing to part forever, as in I Will Always Love You by Dolly Parton. But apart from all those songs about romantic relationships, you can also write about the love you feel for a family member or a friend. Just like Father and Son by Cat Stevens, Isn't She Lovely by Stevie Wonder, You've Got a Friend by Carole King, or I'll Be There For You by the Rembrandts. There's also the option to write songs about wanting to feel recognized, being respected or admired. For instance, we have Eye of the Tiger by Survivor. The song is all about the question whether you sell out or not. You can gain admiration by trading your passion for glory, but you will lose your self-respect. So what will you do? It's a great song about that crisis and giving people a clear direction of what they should choose. Another great song about fighting for your dreams is Lose Yourself by Eminem. It's all about the question if we will do what it takes to fulfill our full potential at the risk of failing, or if we return to the shadows, living with regrets because we never dared to fight for our dream. Another song like this is Remember the Name by Fort Minor. He doesn't need his name up in the lights. He just wants to be heard, whether it's the beat or the mic. The song Hall of Fame by The Script is about achieving greatness, earning respect, and being recognized for your efforts and perseverance. The song Flag by Sunrise Avenue is one that is fairly similar to this one. Even We Are the Champions by Cream is similar to this one. It's about wanting that third-party respect, that admiration from other people, just wanting to be seen and recognized. On the other side of things can also go wrong, right? And you can lose everything, just like in Like a Rolling Stone by Bob Dylan, where we can track the fall of a woman who was high up in her social status and she lost it all, and now she's like a rolling stone on the street with nothing left to lose. She's invisible now. So when it comes to that need of wanting to be seen and follow your dream, you can write about the opportunity that presents itself, whether that is a performance opportunity or something that can elevate someone's recognition among their peers. It could also be about the question of whether to sell out or not. It can be about the reward someone gets for doing the right thing, or about the sacrifices they do along the way. And of course, it could also be about the consequences, whether they are positive or negative. We also got those songs that are very internal and that show the transformation of a person. This is when it comes to their beliefs. So the best example probably is Man in the Mirror by Michael Jackson. The song shows it's not about all the other things we've already gone through. It's not about life and death, war, recognition, or crime. It's all about what's going on internally. Songs about the change of one's belief can make a great empowering song, just like in Beautiful by Christina Aguilera, as she sings, "I'm beautiful no matter what they say." Same with the song Born This Way by Lady Gaga. This one is also about the strong internal belief that it's okay to be who you are. I've recently seen a short clip about Michael Jackson, as he said it himself, that if you write those empowering songs with those good messages, especially when you put them in the chorus, it becomes like a mantra, because people sing along to the chorus, especially to the chorus. And the more they listen to the song, the more they sing along, and they sing those words, "I'm beautiful no matter what they say," or "I was born this way." They keep repeating this mantra, and it will become their new belief. So it's something we should definitely pay attention to the words we put in the chorus. If we have the intention of truly empowering someone, then we should give them a mantra in the chorus that can truly help them overcome a false belief and put their mind in a helpful direction, so they can empower themselves just by listening to the song and singing along with it. It's the great power of songs. But you can also write about one's belief and question it, just like in the song Hurt by 9 Inch Nails. Here the main question is, what have I become? It's all about that self-reflection and making sense of the world. Stop seeing it in black and white, but embrace all its shades of gray. In Sound of Silence by Simon and Garfunkel, it's like the mentor is speaking to the hero to make them understand an important lesson that the mentor has already learned. And if you keep listening to the song, then you discover in the end that he thought he was enlightened, that he would be able to break the silence and reach those people. But then the mentor himself has to learn an important lesson, as he finds out that the message is communicated by the whispers in the silence, and not just by disrupting the silence so forcefully as he has done, but the message is communicated in the whispers. So if you want to write a song about someone's belief and how that one has changed or stands firm, then this works great either for giving your listeners an empowering belief, or you can also address a false belief. To make it sound more than just blunt advice, it's best to show a shift the audience can track and see how and why that belief has changed. That internal shift, that perspective, right? Which is done through telling a story. And most importantly, this topic here works great together with the other topics we've already talked about. Often, it's a specific external situation that prompts us to change internally. For example, "I Will Survive" by Gloria Gaynor is a love song. So is "I'm a Believer," so is "I'm Just Ken," so is "I Will Always Love You." They are all primarily love songs, and they all have that important internal change, that important mindset shift of a belief that is happening inside the song's main character's head. We also have that internal transformation of the song's main character happening in songs like "Good Riddance" by Green Day. We have it in "Hero of War" by Rise Against, "American Pie" by Don McLean, or "Welcome to the Black Parade" by My Chemical Romance, and tons and tons and tons more. So again, this one is the best topic of them all to be combined with the others, because this one here is supporting the story and its impact, because it also shows the change, the transformation of a person. And that is super important and makes a song even more impactful, especially when we can track how someone overcomes their problems. They have that important mindset shift, and through that, it allows them to overcome that problem. So you can always combine someone's beliefs, someone's worldview, someone's perspective with another topic and make it even stronger. You can also write a song that's about someone's legacy. It's about how they can live on and what is the best way to be remembered. On a global scale, it's a song like "Heal the World" by Michael Jackson. It's all about leaving Earth in good condition for the ones that follow. It's all about leaving a meaningful legacy. A similar song that also affects the world is "If Everyone Cared" by Nickelback. But you can also zoom in from that global level and talk about the legacy of a group, just like the song "The Rising" by Bruce Springsteen, which is remembering the firefighters on 9/11. On an even smaller scale, it can be about the legacy of one single individual, like in "Seasons in the Sun" by Terry Jacks. It's about being remembered. So as I mentioned, it's about the legacy of the world, a group, or an individual. You can help people with those songs by showing them what things are worth to live on, what behaviors are right to inspire others, and what values they should hold dear, the things that should just carry on. All right, now that we've gone through those topics, let's see how we can break them down into the 6 core topics that universally resonate with people, so that you can see why those topics are so damn powerful and definitely spark interest in people. And those things that affect all people is what Abraham Maslow mapped out on his hierarchy of needs. I'll quickly go through it, and as I do so, show you how our main topics can be mapped onto this concept as well. First of all, we have that need to survive. That is our most basic physiological need. It concerns hunger, thirst, reproduction, sleep, everything that goes into the survival of our body and our species. And so our first topic of life and death is all about that human need. The main concern is our survival. And then we have that need for safety. This concerns our need for security. It's about the security of the body, employment, resources, health, property. Even the security of our mind goes into this one. This plays back into that sanity-insanity gradient. And here the 3 topics of crime, horror, and war belong to. As you can guess, a crime threatens our safety. Horror does so as well, but it takes it up a notch because it concerns someone's sanity. We can't even feel safe in our own head. And then, of course, war threatens our need for safety on so many levels, like we've already talked about. Because war threatens our entire country, nation, and even the world, our entire way of life. And then we have our need for love and belonging. This involves having friends, being part of a family or a group. It's all about belonging somewhere and having meaningful relationships. And of course, it's also about those romantic relationships and intimacy. So without any further explanation, that's where the important song topic of love belongs to. And then there's the need for esteem, for achievement, for self-respect, and third-party respect and admiration. And as you can guess, the topic of recognition belongs to this need. Last but not least, we have the need for self-actualization. That one is all about personal growth and living up to our full potential. So it's all about one's belief and perspective. And far up there at the top of the pyramid is the need for self-transcendence. This one is all about leaving a meaningful legacy. And when it comes to writing songs with universal appeal, the first thing you need to know is which human need you will address. Every song we write should revolve around one of those universal human needs, because those things are the universal things anyone can relate to. And once you know the need that you want to address in your lyrics, you can think about the topic and its main topics to get a better idea of how you can explore that need in your lyrics and in the story you tell. Now, this is a great starting place to discover song ideas, to have that first direction of where you want to take your song. But before we get started writing songs with universal appeal, let's look closer to home and discover first what resonates with you. And the easiest way to do this is to simply list 10 songs, books, or movies that impacted you the most, or that have become your all-time favorites. You can also write down more. Just choose the ones that have deeply moved you, that you could listen to, read, or watch again and again, or that evoke a special memory, because this allows you to see what resonates with you. And once you've done that, just connect the universal human needs to those stories, and then just write it next to it. You will be able to see rather quickly what kind of stories you love most. You will be able to see rather quickly what kind of human need speaks to you the most. And then you can look further and see how this human need is explored in those stories. Now, if you have a bunch of different ones and don't seem to be able to find a common theme among them, look a little closer at the characters of those stories that stand out to you the most. And think about what's internally going on for them. Maybe that's what's really captivating you. And if you are unsure, just put your list into ChatGPT and ask it to order your favorites by universal human need, or the core themes of what they have in common. You will be surprised what you learn about this. Then let me know in the comments below what topic resonates with you the most. Thank you for watching.